Hey guys, my name is Leonardo and welcome to the Leo. Alright, so I'll start off this video by giving you a quick explanation of what this channel will be about. This will be essentially a music discussion channel ran on the perspective of a guitarist, composer, songwriter and music theory lover, in which I, the host, will be giving
you the keys to the Lamborghini.
Some lessons on some of my favorite technically challenging or theoretically interesting solos and riffs, in my personal opinion or in the viewer's opinion. So I am definitely open to suggestions on which solo I should teach next, so leave yours in the comments down below. Also, this channel will be about musical experiments and basically whatever the hell I feel like learning production and composition wise, so be prepared for some weird shit. So now that the introductions are made, guitar freaks, grab your girlfriends, and without further ado, let's start the lesson for today. This is a tough beginner. So, Jakub Zytecki, I believe it's how his name is pronounced, for those who don't know, is a Polish guitarist who plays for a band called DispersE, and who is a very well-known prodigy in the progressive rock metal community. He has a very Holdsworthy fusion-y approach to his style and has a very unique and tasty phrasing in his soloing. And here are some videos of him that made me drool all over my laptop. I link them all in the description. He's truly an inspiration for me as a guitar player. So this solo is taken from the track Fall of Logic from his solo album Wishful Lotus Proof, which is probably the heaviest and one of the most difficult to understand tracks of the album, hence my love and intrigue for it. This solo has baffled me since I first heard it, and I feel like it has a very Meshuggah-like, slightly off-scale approach to it, which I think theory-wise is worth analyzing. The whole solo was transcribed by ear, without the use of any taps. I believe the song is played in drop G sharp on a 7-string guitar, and the tempo should be 150 beats per minute. Okay guys, so let's start with the first lick of this solo. This first lick is basically 2 arpeggios, and the first one starts with a slide from G to G sharp. So like this. Basically from the 4th fret on the 6th string and to the 5th fret on the 6th string, and then hammering on to the 8th fret, which is B, on the 6th string as well. So basically like this. Then you string skip to the 2nd string for a tapping lick, starting on the 17th fret, which is D sharp, so like this. There's one thing that I would like you to understand, which is usually the first strings for me are the higher pitched ones. So basically when I refer to the 7th string, I'm referring to this one, and when I'm referring to the 1st string, I'm referring to this one. Okay, now that we got that covered, let's move on. So basically we have this, and then you will pull off to the lower octave on the 5th fret, hammering onto F sharp on the 8th fret, then tapping on the 17th fret again, then going to the 8th and pulling off to the 5th. So this is a standard Van Halen trick right there. So basically what you have is okay. This is basically a G sharp minor major 7 arpeggio. Then you have this little guy over here, which is an F sharp, which is the minor 7. Okay, so you have the major 7 here, which is G, but then you have the minor 7 up here. So you might call this, you might want to call this just a G sharp minor 7 arpeggio, if you will, just coming down from G, which is basically like it's just the beginning of the slide. It doesn't really mean anything. So it's a G sharp minor 7 arpeggio, which is expected because you are on G sharp minor, or G sharp Aeolian, as you will. Okay, so then you head off to a basic E minor arpeggio starting on the 13th fret of the 6th string, which goes kind of like this. So then what you have is, up until now, is I don't think I really go to this note, to E, to end this. I believe I end it right here. Here things get pretty interesting already, because in the G sharp minor scale, E should be a major chord, but he plays a minor chord, which means the arpeggio makes the whole scale modulate 4 tones up, or 2 tones down, if you will, making the 6th of the scale now the tonic note, only for the duration of this arpeggio.
Nerd alert!
Which doesn't have any riff underneath. This is just silence on the rhythm guitars. So basically this is the entrance to the solo. So basically, again we have let us keep going. So now that the solo riff blows up, he decides to bend the shit out of the 19th fret on the 2nd string, which gives us a G. Okay, so he bends the F a whole step, like this. G is the major 7 of the G sharp minor scale. We already talked about this, so he must be using either the melodic minor scale or the harmonic minor scale, which ascends the 7th note of the scale, a semitone, a half step basically. This is the harmonic minor. The melodic minor ascends both the 7th note and the 6th note, semitone. Then he starts picking this note as he goes down on the bend back to F, so like this. But the thing is, he continuously accelerates the picking until he reaches 16th note triplets, then ending in a vibrato. So he basically does this. And that's cool, I guess. Also bear in mind that the chord in the bass riff is now A sharp, to which F is now the 5th note. The 5th note to A sharp. He proceeds to a chromatic staccato lick, in which he begins on the on D sharp on the 12th fret of the 1st string, and he slides downwards to it, so he does kind of like this. And then he goes to the 13th, 14th, 15th, then sliding to G on the 16th fret, back to the major 7. So So basically he does this. If you want to get the solo as accurate as possible, you have to nail this staccato filling like. It's only on the 13th, 14th, and 15th fret. Then on the 15th fret, he slides to the 16th. So basically, it's a slide down to the 12th, and then staccato filling usually in the right hand is done like. You have to pick the note and then hide the note behind your hand. So basically like this. Now he starts a 16th note lick, which starts on D sharp, 12th fret of the first string again. So then D on the 11th fret, then B on the 13th fret of the second string, then A sharp on the 12th fret, back to the 13th fret, so back to B. So we have, and I believe this is clearly an A sharp Phrygian dominant intention. Then he goes back to D, which is 11th fret on the first string, so then F sharp on the 15th fret, so then back to D 11th fret, then D sharp on the 12th fret, and then back to D on the 11th, and then he repeats D 2 times, okay? And I believe one of them is played on the 16th fret on the second string, and the other is on the 11th fret of the first string again, so he kind of does it like this. So this is the same note essentially, but it kind of gives the lick, I don't know, a more fluid feeling than just doing it like this. So this is how I believe it's played. I don't know if it's actually like that. It's what I want to hear, basically. So this is a use of the G sharp harmonic minor, because the G sharp harmonic minor is basically like this. And what you have is basically you go like so. So G sharp harmonic minor. Now here, theory-wise, things start getting pretty weird. He goes to D on the 11th fret first string, which regarding the A chord being played below is the major third, but regarding G sharp it is the diminished fifth, which probably means he is now using G sharp Locrian. Ooh.
Oh, that's nasty.
He then goes to C sharp. So basically what he does is he's now in D. He goes to C sharp on the 15th fret second string, which he picks 2 times. So then A sharp on the 12th fret, and then back to C sharp 15th fret 2 times again. Let's just recap. The whole lick is like this. In fact, that D is played, I believe, 4 times. So he has like. So basically, he plays D 4 times. One of them on the 16th fret of the second string. He goes to the 11th fret to D, plays it 2 times, and then C sharp. Then A sharp, then back to C sharp 2 times again. He does like a staccato feeling again, like syncopated. I believe this is one of the most interesting moments on this solo. It slides from C sharp 15th fret to D 16th fret, and then picks C 14th fret next, which makes the bass G sharp chord major. So he does it like this. This completely modulates the scale to G sharp Phrygian dominant, and it sounds awesome. he picks this note 2 times in a staccato syncopated fashion, so like this. So like. Then he begins the next lick on C, 14th fret again, going to C sharp, 15th fret, so. Then going to E, 13th fret on the first string. Then going on a chromatic descent, kind of a bluesy descent, from G sharp, 17th fret, to G, 16th, then F sharp, 15th, back to E, 13th, then to D sharp, 12th fret, then back to F sharp, 15th, then F, 14th, then E, 13th, back to D sharp, 12th fret, which sounds like this altogether. Okay, so let's just recap what we have until now. So we had those 2 arpeggios on the beginning, which was were like this. Then a bend, accelerating downwards, vibrato, then chromatic staccato, major 7, then the A sharp Phrygian dominant lick, which is also in G sharp harmonic minor. Then he does it and here's where we are. He proceeds to C on the 14th fret, so here, 2nd string, and then G sharp on the same fret but 3rd string, then F sharp 12th fret, and then he slides it to D sharp 9th fret. Okay, so basically from the lick before it goes like this. Then he proceeds to A, 11th fret, 2nd string, then G sharp 10th fret, then F sharp again 12th fret, 3rd string, then D sharp 9th fret, same string, and then he repeats the idea: A, G sharp, F sharp, D sharp, then sliding to C on the 6th fret, 3rd string, and finishing on the tonic G sharp 7th fret, 4th string. Okay, so he basically does it like this. I will come from the lick before, which is he then ends this whole descending lick with a string skipping G sharp major arpeggio, which fits on the G sharp Phrygian dominant, starting on C, 9th fret of the 1st string, which is then G sharp, and this is a pull off, to G sharp 5th fret, then D sharp on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, then C 6th fret, again a pull off, then G sharp 7th fret 4th string, and then he basically goes to D sharp on the 7th fret 5th string, picking it and bending it half step and pulling off to C sharp on the 5th fret. So I'll play this fluidly so that you can see what's going on coming from the past 2 licks. So actually this note, D sharp on the 7th fret, is actually picked twice, and the first time it is normal, and then the second time he bends it half step and pulls off to C sharp. first half of the riff through some palm muting. He alternate picks his way to a high note on what seems to me like 8th note quintuplets, which gives this specific part a very organic feeling.
That sweet, luscious jazz.
Let's just recap this G sharp major arpeggio that goes to it. And then, to start this 8th note quintuplets pattern, it starts it on G sharp, 7th fret, 4th string, then C sharp, 7th fret, 3rd string, then D sharp on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, then slides it to E, 10th fret, so then G sharp, 10th fret, and bear in mind this slide from D sharp to E has a slight pinch harmonic, I believe. Then G sharp on the 10th fret, 2nd string, then C sharp, 10th fret, 1st string. Then he goes to D sharp, 12th fret, and slides it all the way up to A sharp on the 19th fret, and bends it a whole step to C to start the second half of the riff, landing on the 9th of the chord being played, which is A sharp. Tasty as fuck, right? Okay, so let's recap again. I like to do these recaps so that you guys don't forget what we covered up until now. Here's what we have. So now, speed-wise, things chill out a little bit. He lets the solo breathe a little using 4th notes for this next section. But theory-wise, it gets super weird. When he leaves the previous bend starting in A sharp, which is this, which should mean he's now in the normal G sharp minor or Aeolian, he then slides from the upper neck down to A, 18th fret, 1st string, which I believe is supposed to fit the transition C chord behind it, being the major 6th of it, here where my pinky is. However, this leaves our ears surprised because this means, ha, gotcha, back to Phrygian, since this is the minor 2nd of G sharp. But here's the thing, the next note is G, 16th fret, same string, like this. Which means he's fucking playing us and modulated back to G sharp melodic minor.
What?
Then he plays D sharp, 17th fret, 2nd string, and slides up to C, 21st fret, and then he slides downwards to G sharp, 17th fret.
Okay, Jakub. Phrygian again? Can we just say here, please?
Pete says nah.
No, in fact, he doesn't stay in Phrygian because for the next part, which is played in 4th note triplets, he starts with F sharp, 15th fret, which is this, and then E in the 13th fret, which means he's back to G sharp minor. But wait, there's more modulation, because the next notes are G sharp, 17th fret, 2nd string, then D, 16th fret, and then C, 14th fret, which means he is now in G sharp Lydian.
Oh my gosh!
And then he picks the same C again and hammers on to C sharp in the 15th fret, and ends the lick in B, 17th fret, 3rd string, with vibrato, which is the minor 3rd of G sharp. So yeah, back to G sharp minor. And to help with all of this modulation insanity, he has the synth quar playing since the bend on the 19th fret, which is playing a G sharp major flat 5 chord, which is kind of like this, which sounds pretty insane.
What the actual fuck?
I so need an aspirin right now. Don't give up just yet, guys, because the Lamborghini is almost here. let's just recap what we have until now before we move further. So we have 2 arpeggios at the beginning, and the bend, continuously accelerating. Here's where we are. So he proceeds sliding downwards to A, 15th fret. Although I actually played this with 2 percussive notes before this A, just because I kind of liked the way it sounded, so like this. He then slides to C sharp, 19th fret, same string, then goes to B, 17th fret, so kind of like this. He then slides to G, 21st fret, 2nd string, and then plays D sharp, 17th fret, same string. So back to G sharp melodic minor, and now he repeats these notes a half step above in the same string. So G sharp and E, which gets us back to regular G sharp minor. And then he bends the 22nd fret on the 1st string a half step from C sharp to D, which regarding the chord played below, which is A sharp, is the major 3rd, but regarding the G sharp is the diminished 5th. Just like this. So he kind of bends it a half step and then lets it drop a little bit and then picks it again as the note it is. Let's just recap what we have until now. So we have the arpeggios. So here's where we are. Now, I introduce you to the Lamborghini.
Fucking finally, man! Let's do this shit!
So for the solo closing lick, I must confess that I kind of had to trial and error. This is not as accurate as I would like it to be. But from the little that my ears could understand, this is a 6th note pattern, going up the scale in 16th note triplets, but I believe he uses the augmented scale, or whole tone scale, for this run, starting it on G sharp, 12th fret, on the 5th string, then A sharp, 14th fret, then C on the 16th fret, then D on the 13th fret, 4th string, then E, 15th fret, then F sharp, 17th fret for the first 6 notes. So we have. Then he goes up a half step and plays the same whole tone pattern. So A, 13th fret, 5th string, then B, 15th, then C sharp, 17th fret, then D sharp, 14th fret, 4th string, then F, 16th fret, then G, 18th fret. So we have. He then continues the pattern, repeating the previous 3 notes: D sharp, F, and G, then going to the 3rd string. So D sharp, F, G, then going to the 3rd string, picking A, 15th fret, then B, 17th fret, and then C sharp, 19th fret. Then he repeats these 3 notes, A, B, and C sharp, and goes up to the 2nd string and picks D, 16th fret, then E, 18th fret, and then F sharp, 20th fret, and finally he resolves the run on G sharp, 22nd fret, which should be bass.
Bass.
The whole closing lick should be something like this. Since these are 1/16th note triplets on 150 beats per minute, it should sound something like this. So yeah, basically the whole solo goes like this. Alright guys, so there you have it, the first lesson on this channel. One last thing I'd like to cover to get my guitar tone. I used a Schecter Demon 7 going through an M-Audio M track to my laptop that's running Cubase 5, and I'm using Easy Mix that has the Guitar Gods 2 pack, in which I'm using the Andy James Boogie Dual preset, and I'm also adding a little bit of 12-bit delay over it. I'll be just placing some green screens of my settings so that you can replicate that at home if you want. Well, I hope you liked my explanation, and I appreciate that you watched this far. So I'll give you a little sneak peek of what I pretend to do next. If you guys enjoyed this video and support what I do, please leave a like and subscribe!